And now it's time for some deaf culture. Well, what does deaf culture mean? Here we are on opposite sides of the tracks, and we're trying to understand each other. You're hearing, and I'm deaf. So I'll explain what it is in this box and open it out and give you little tidbits. So, first of all, we'll talk about deafness. And do deaf people associate themselves as being handicapped? Is there something wrong with deaf people? Is that how they look at themselves? Do they label themselves as handicapped? Well, to let you know, most deaf people feel that, hey, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not handicapped. I'm not in isolation, or I don't feel like I can't be involved. I think deaf people feel normal. We have a culture just like you do. Of course, your culture's focused around spoken language, mine's with the sign language. So let's compare cultures. Let's look at a couple of different examples. Let me ask, do we share the same language? Well, no. You speak English or French or Spanish, whatever it is. I use sign language. I use American Sign Language. Also, do we use the same word order? In fact, no, we don't. Let's talk about art. Of course, we have artists all over the world, but do deaf people have artists? Sure we do, but we might have different themes, different inspirations. I would say deaf artists are certainly more visual. They use topics such as oppression, or maybe they talk about how they feel around hearing people. There's many different topics that artists express themselves. And it's our world, the deaf world. Food. Do we share the same food? Well, yes, of course. We both live in America, right? We're Americans. So our food isn't different. Music. Oh, sure. Hearing people have all sorts of great, wonderful musicians and music to listen to. Do deaf people have music? Oh, sure they do. We have music. We have our own beats, stories, heritage. Of course, hearing people have stories that have been passed down through generations, and that's the case with deaf people as well. We have our own stories. Maybe ABC stories, poetry, whatever it is. A lot of it is passed down through generations. So deaf people certainly have pride, and they feel that it's my culture. It's a deaf culture. So I wouldn't say deaf people associate themselves as being handicapped, but then again, you might meet some deaf people who don't have a strong deaf culture influence. Maybe because they were raised without knowing sign language. Maybe they didn't have anybody to teach them about the culture, or they felt really on the fence between a hearing culture and a deaf culture. But I would say for the most part, people who've signed through their whole life, maybe they went to a deaf school or they have deaf parents, and they've used sign language and they're around other deaf people, they feel certainly proud of their language and of their culture. And they feel they can join the hearing world through the use of technology and internet. And it's easy to join the hearing world, but the only way for a hearing person to join our deaf culture is by our language. So I say respect that. And I certainly appreciate it, and you're welcome to join our culture. I just ask that you respect the culture and appreciate it for what it is. You shouldn't feel sorry for deaf people. Oh, certainly not. We're fine, believe me. I wouldn't say we're handicapped, no. Okay, we can't hear. That's all right. We still live our lives, and we do a good job of it. We don't struggle and with our everyday lives. We're okay. Deaf people adapt very well, especially with communication. So it's important to not look down on deaf people. Look at us as equals. There might be some difficulty in signing with the deaf person, but deaf people are very good at figuring out what you want through the use of other communications. But I would say, remember, we're not handicapped. We're just deaf. I just can't hear. So is it really that important? Is it that big of a deal? No, it's not that important. Just letting you know.